So this is the left hemisphere of the brain, and this is the right hemisphere of the brain. This frontal part of the brain, this is the frontal lobe. This middle section, this is the parietal lobe. And this back part, this is the occipital lobe. Lateral view, this is the frontal lobe. This is the parietal lobe. This is the occipital lobe. This thing right here is the cerebellum. On the inside of the cerebellum, when you cut it right here, you have the arbor vitae, or the tree of life. It kind of branches out. This lowest part of the brainstem, this is the medulla oblongata. This middle part that kind of sticks out right here is the pons. And across, like from here, this is the midbrain, or the mesencephalon. This down here is the temporal lobe. This right here is the longitudinal fissure. In between this red piece and this purple piece, this is the central sulcus. In between the occipital lobe and the cerebellum, this is the transverse fissure. In between the temporal lobe and the frontal lobe, this right here is the lateral sulcus. This right here is the central sulcus. On the front part of the central sulcus is the motor cortex, as it says there. And on the back part of it, you have the sensory cortex. This is pia mater. This is dura mater right here. And on the inside part, this is falx cerebri, the cantaloupe. This right here, this large piece, this is the corpus callosum. Right under the corpus callosum is the septum pellucidum. This large piece right here, this is the thalamus. And this bump in the middle is the interthalamic adhesion. These two wings right here, these are the lateral ventricles. This little piece in between, this is the choroid process. In this part that runs down to the fourth ventricle down here is the cerebral aqueduct running down to the fourth ventricle. From the side, this is your third ventricle right here. This is cerebral cortex, and this is caudate nucleus. This right here is the hypothalamus next to the thalamus. This is the cerebral peduncles. So this line in between is the cerebral aqueduct. On the other side of the aqueduct is the corpora quadrigemina. And across, like from here, this is the midbrain, or the mesencephalon. This little bump right here, this is the pineal gland. This right here is the pituitary gland. This is the olfactory bulb up here, running down through the olfactory tract. This is the optic nerve underneath the pituitary right here. This is the optic chiasm, where the two optic nerves kind of cross. And running back into the brain right here is the optic tract. Down here, these little white dots, these are the mammillary bodies. It's right here in front of the cerebral peduncle.